There we go. All right. There's my pretty face. All right. How's everybody doing tonight? Hey, Rat, how you doing? We're just getting started here. For anyone wondering what they're looking at, my name's Sean. I run mailworks.com. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories, and I make chainmail, all kinds of different stuff out of chainmail. You're doing all right? That's good to hear. It's good to hear. From jewelry to decorative items to ridiculously large chainmail sculptures, like this one. So, my goal here is to spread the good word of chainmail. Show people that you can make this stuff at home. And hang out and get some work done. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. It's one of those things. Chainmail has affected my life profoundly. I've been doing it for a very long time. As a hobby, it's been fulfilling, and you get cool stuff. So I like it. Currently working on, so I have to make each of these rings out of smaller rings, right? So a lot of tiny rings. These aren't even that tiny. They're fairly large comparatively, right? These are 16 gauge 3/8 rings. And the weave I'm using is called Sandwyrm, and the technique I'm using is called Ringception. It's when you use small rings to make a larger ring. Rings within rings. And then I'm making what I'm calling a metacube. Right? So this is a standard jelly cube. It's a wonderful fidget toy. Loads of fun. And I'm doing this weave to make this cube using really large rings made out of smaller rings. So, it's a work in progress. I've got, how many do I have? That's 21, 26, 27, 28. Right? 27, 28. 28 rings done so far. This will be 29. And what does that mean? That means I have, I needed 95 total. So what is 95 minus 28? That's 85, 75 minus 8, so 67. I need 67 rings, 67 more rings for a cube that is 3 rows by 3 rows. A lot of work to do. I got some more supplies on the way because I'm almost out of these rings here. So they should be here pretty soon. I was hoping to use up the supplies I had on hand and then work on another project, my Finnegan's Wake flag, before the rest of the supplies for this project show up. But these rings, these large rings I'm making from smaller rings, are taking quite a lot of time. So, and I did, it was a beautiful day outside, so I got the Harley out. And if you've been following me for any period of time, you may have seen the saddlebag project I've got going on. So I took the saddlebags off my Harley, and I am covering the lids of the saddlebags in chainmail. Because I can, right? So I've got one saddlebag done, and then I got the Harley out and I took it for a quick spin around the block. And once I'm done with the supplies for this, it's going to get set aside. I'm going to go finish the saddlebag, then I'll come back to this. And then I'll do the Finnegan's Wake flag. But plenty of large projects to work on. Plenty of stuff to do. Just got to get it all done, one ring at a time. I didn't get a lot of work done today because I had to go do yard work. My garden bed collapsed over the winter. I had a garden bed made from a old bunk bed and a even older picnic table's boards. Hey Astrid, how you doing? How is your cat? I was gonna ask you. So old picnic boards, half rotted, used as the floor. And I didn't expect this thing to last long anyway. It was more of an experiment. But it did collapse. So now I cleaned up the yard and I've got this broken garden bed. And now I've got to figure out a replacement for it. So I'm going to go and get some cedar planks and either some like 2x8 cedar boards. We'll see. Still not sure. Had to wait on testing. Oh no. Nothing's worse than having to wait for results. I hope everything turns out okay. I'm not a cat person, but I'm rooting for your cat. I don't have anything against cats necessarily. I'm just deathly allergic to them. And everything else in the world. So, yeah, loads of fun today doing yard work. That was the highlight of my day. So I only got down here around 6:30 my time, 6:30, 7 o'clock. So I finished one of these rings earlier. It was already halfway done. So I've gotten that much done today. Half a ring. And then I'm almost done with this one. So yesterday, I think I did 6.5. And five of these big rings that I'm making is 800 and some odd rings, almost 1,000. So 6.5 was over 1,000 rings. Possible diabetes, but doesn't explain why he isn't eating. Ooh. Well, I hope they figure that out. Do you have a good vet? We have good vets for our dogs, seemingly. I've never had an issue with them. But our dogs have also never had big complications, knock on wood. You know what I mean? Now, my dog has allergies and is allergic to fresh cut grass, and so he gets little yeast infections in his paws and in his ears, and you know they give him an antifungal cream and call it a day. Not a hard complication to figure out. Not really. Just went somewhere close by. You moved and had to find a new one. Ooh. Well, I hope they get it figured out. I barely like any of the pets that I've had. Well, I had a bearded dragon. He was kind of cool. He just chilled. And then the last dog that we had to put down, 2 years ago now? I'm trying to think. 3 years ago? Good dog, but she was a bitch. I'm not gonna lie. Imagine if your dog was allergic to other dogs. Yeah. Capturing Essence, how you doing? How's it going? All right. So, trying to think. Yeah, we had a Weimaraner mix that we rescued from another military family. I say rescue. We took over. It's been a day. Yeah, I hear you there. We took over care of this dog when she was about 2 years old. So we had her for 9-10 years before she passed. And then we've got a street Chihuahua from San Antonio. And he's more like a cat. But he usually just chills upstairs by himself. But anytime you sit down and get comfortable, he has to come investigate and see what you're doing, and then ask to be let outside or bark for a treat. So, and then our new dog is a corgi, and he's a puppy, and corgis are smart and they're trainable. I have to keep telling myself this. They're smart and they're trainable, and the things that have been destroyed by this corgi are replaceable. The important thing is my son has a puppy that he loves and can grow up with. That's the important thing. Right? Also just got our taxes done. Managed to get the amount we owe under 200. It was around 1,300 before. Ooh, that's a good recovery though. 200 is... I don't know anyone who has like $1,300 just sitting around. Like, I could handle a $1,300 payment, but it wouldn't be comfortable. You know what I mean? I still have to log into TurboTax to see if my federal taxes have been filed. And then maybe I can file my state taxes electronically. I don't know. Yes, yay tax write-offs. I didn't get any this year. Nothing big. But got to figure that out, the whole state taxes thing, because that's where I'm not getting anything back from federal. I don't owe anything, but I'm not getting anything back, so we'll see. See if they're accepted. They should be. I don't know. I've never had an issue with taxes, knock on wood. We would have had a refund, but Hub's W4 was messed up. I had that messed up one time, and the HR lady who didn't file my W4 correctly was like, "Oh, tough luck, you know. You're SOL, haha." And then later on, she was fired from that company after I had left. But it was some vindication that she was pretty garbage. So I ended up like not paying any taxes through my paycheck and for like a whole year. So I owed a lot that year. That was a painful realization. And the thing of it is, it could all be avoided if the IRS would just let us know what we owe them. Or what we're getting back. The whole filing thing is shenanigans. Lobbyists lobbying the government to not let that happen so that companies like TurboTax and H&R Block and Jackson Hewitt and all them can charge us to help us file our taxes. So can't say what I think should happen to them, but it is what it is. But hopefully my taxes will be done soon and I won't have to worry about it anymore. Should be getting a decent amount back, and then it will free this. I need to get the taxes back so that I can finish my basement setup here, where I've got the riveting setup, the anodizing setup, and the coil and cutting setup. I need that by the end of the year. That's basically what happened, but it was the new system. You don't think the HR knew what to do? Oh no. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to use my tax return to pay off some debt, and then that will free me up to get the rest of my setup down here. So, not that I'm in a rush to get it. I still have a lot of work to do before I can even play with any of it. but getting it all here and set up will be nice. I'll make ridiculously cool things. I hope. Alright. So not much else happened today. My siblings did give me a call. My brother is going on a ruck march. He's stationed out in Japan. And it's an 8-mile ruck march with the Navy. And I don't remember what it's called. It's one of the historical marches out there. Some military men completed this march back in like World War II or something, and so they do an annual 8-mile ruck march now, something like that. And I've done several ruck marches when I was in the military. So I don't envy him. I think he's gonna have fun. And he's probably not gonna be able to move the next day. All right. So this thing is getting. This is like a foot tall. Huh. Your dad was in Japan for a few years when he was in the Air Force. He had some amazing pics. Right on. Yeah, my brother is going around doing all this cool stuff in Japan and scuba diving and going to a bunch of like touristy sites and whatnot and having the time of his life. Whereas I got stationed in Fort Polk, Louisiana, which I don't think they had a McDonald's there when I was stationed there. They had a Walmart, and that was it. It's so dense, yeah. My brother sends me, he'll call us when it's like monsoon season and show us the rain and everything. It's crazy. So it's a lot of cool stuff that he got the opportunity to do. His first duty station, the cube, yeah, it's dense and intense. I tell you what. Let me finish. I'll weigh it here in just a second. It was 4 pounds the other day. I think it's supposed to end up around 21 or 22 pounds. I forget. All right. I want to try. I don't know. There's a lot of worm weaves, right? Like fireworm, and ice worm, and sandworm. I don't think there's an earthworm weave. But the basis of this is full Persian, right? And then you have box around it. And I'm wondering, there's some twisted, there's like a left and right twisted version of full Persian, and I think that's called candy cane cord. I don't remember, but I want to see if there's a way to make this full Persian, the twisted version, and then add box around it. You keep seeing like candy cane cord or twisted full Persians. I was playing around with the idea earlier and I got this far, so I didn't really pay attention to what I was doing. I was just kind of screwing around. Oh, you tried the worm weaves? Yeah, I gotta get back whip for my bike that is Sandwyrm, I think. And it's cool, but it doesn't hang like your regular 550 cord get back whip or a leather get back whip, right? So I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. It swings around too much, comes over and hits my tank. Alright, here we are weaving upside down and backwards. Alright, I've done one candy cane chain, I think, once upon a time. Long time ago. Like, don't let me talk bad about anything, and don't take anything I say as like I'm looking down on an aspect of making chainmail. There are plenty of cool chainmail chain weaves and sheet weaves, and I've enjoyed making them over the years and making stuff out of them. But I don't necessarily want to just do that anymore. You know what I mean? Which is why I'm making a chain into rings and making the rings into essentially a three-dimensional weave. Is this a good idea? Nobody knows. Probably not. We'll see what happens. Maybe someone will really like it. I've got high hopes for... Oh wow, that ring is not round enough. I've got high hopes for future projects. So... But it's going to be a lot of work. Right? I may even need to learn how to weld titanium. Selling for tens of thousands as a sculpture. That's my plan. That is my plan. Make several... I want to do like an art gallery. I think is really where I'm going to next. The motorcycle project, I want a magazine cover for that. Right? That would be awesome. So I'm trying to make it as just perfect as I can. And it takes a lot of work. Which I haven't been doing. I've been lazy because I don't want to work on it. But now that the sun is shining, I need to finish it. But the whole bike, once it's done, hydro dipped and everything, magazine cover. You know what I should do? I don't know if they're still around, but I think there was a Renaissance Festival magazine, right? And if they're still around, I'll contact them and be like, hey, put this bike on your cover. Oh. We'll see. But I think with the bike project, that can probably get a decent amount of publicity. Just because it is multi-niche. You think the Renaissance magazine is still a thing? Yeah, I don't know. Never had the opportunity to subscribe to it, so. And with the internet, like paper products like that, or I don't know. Social media kind of killed off a lot of small websites. because they were just absorbed. Now you have a Facebook page. It stopped publishing 3 years ago? Aw. That's too bad. Maybe there's another similar niche magazine that... I can send them pictures. Maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't think I'm going to get on the cover of any large motorcycle magazine, right? That'd be cool, but... they're pretty niche. I think most stuff is online now. Yep. Which is, I mean, it's good and bad, you know, it is what it is. Oh my goodness. Why do I keep doing this? Once the new supplies for this are spring steel. So I'm not going to have, like, I got to make sure they close perfectly. I'm not going to be able to open and close them over and over again. Because my hands just won't be able to take it. I'm not going to lie. Like, it looks like we've made good progress on this project so far. And we have. But that spring steel is going to slow me down. Which is fine. It's not like this is a project that has a timeline. I didn't even need to make this. I just started making it for some, because I had leftover supplies. It's fine. There was at one point a time when I wanted to, I don't know if I still own it. I would have to look it up. I owned the Daily Mail, Maille. And I wanted to, like, just have posts about what comes out in the chainmail news. You know, and that can easily niche out into other stuff like Renaissance festivals and Behurt and stuff like that. But I am one person, and while I think it's a cool idea, I don't think that I could really do that project justice. And I'm not much of a writer. Hell, I can barely read. So... I don't remember if I still have that website domain or not. But that'd be cool, you know. It's like if I can't get a magazine cover with the motorcycle project, then just post it to the front of my own magazine, news organization. It's not biased at all. Alright, where did this fall out of? Because it just slipped. That is... nope. Not even looking at the right ring. There it is. Ah. Okay. Where's that? That's 29. 29 rings done. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more for the top, and then that's as tall as it's going to get. Right? Which is roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8.5 inches tall. Roughly. And the more rings I add to it, the more it takes shape. So I'm happy about that because I wasn't sure the number of rings I would need. All right. This song is a little loud. So, something cool that I saw before I went live. Streamlabs has partnered with TikTok, and you don't need the 10,000 followers. So, if you can apply, and you don't need a stream key, you can just load into your TikTok account through Streamlabs and stream there, which is cool because I may not. Hopefully, I'll apply and they'll be like, "Yeah, okay." So I may be able to stream from one source moving forward, which will be nice. Yes, I think so too. I think it is very awesome. Hopefully, my application gets accepted. So I haven't finished the application yet or anything. This is the first time I've seen anything about it, so we'll see what happens. I'm a very, very small streamer, so thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. You know, I may be too small for them to approve. I don't know. I imagine that people that have similar audience sizes as mine are in a similar boat. Like, they're probably not massive streamers either, but don't know. Streamlabs has a vertical output, so it'll work perfectly. Streamlabs and TikTok and Instagram have the vertical lives, right? And I tried adding Instagram to the platforms that I stream to, and it was awful. There was like a 10-minute delay by the time I got done with my normal streaming. Instagram was still going, and it was way behind. I was like, this is absurd. All right. Maybe it will get better in the future. I don't know. I don't like Instagram. Actually, no. The only social media platform I enjoy is TikTok. I don't like any of the rest. But that is all right. Got to use what we have. Okay. What else is going on? I don't even know anymore. Nothing new or entertaining. Just chilling, working on projects and looking towards the future, and hopefully gonna make really cool stuff. Like, TikTok's the only platform I've ever been able to garner an audience on of any size. So that's part of the reason why I like it. More people have seen my stuff on TikTok than ever before. So you're getting so annoyed with IG? There's something wonky with their editing? Yeah. Well, and with Instagram, right? They got all the filters that cater to people taking selfies and their narcissistic attitudes, and you know, that's great that as a platform, you know, you cater to your main users or creators, I guess you would call them, your main selfie takers, but like, there's nothing on that platform or any other platform that applies to like what I do here that's useful. You post something, you think everything is on beat, but then it goes live and it's off beat. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that's like me going live on Instagram and then having it just be delayed by 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was. So, something is off with that for sure. Right, and how many times do you want to delete, edit, and re-upload a video? Never. I never want to do that. I only do quick takes. Say what I want to say. I might do a couple reshoots of it. Try and break it up to keep the pace going, but I'm not really any good at that. So I don't focus too much on it, and I focus on getting the video out there, whatever it is. Whether it's bad or good, it doesn't matter. And this isn't like a try your best thing. I've struggled with video and video editing for forever, which is why I just go live and stream and talk. Uh-oh. Oh, wow. You want it to be right the first time, you don't have the time to re-edit things. I 100% understand that. I don't have the time to re-edit nothing. I don't have time to wait for stuff to upload in the first place, much less try and re-upload it. So I got precious little time. Excuse me here. With which to focus on the social media aspect of my business, you know? Because the rest of the time is spent, not that this is an important project, but like, it's part of my basement project, so it has to get done. I just added to it, right? So here. Gotta make use of your animation degree somehow. There you go. Alright. We are cruising right along here. 8:40. Most of the time, the stuff that I'm working on is very important. You know, as far as my business is concerned. Most of it's just been basement projects, but that I'm finishing up or polishing up. But some of it is stuff for sale, legitimately. And anytime I'm on the computer doing work, that can take days, right? Getting in the back end of Google, editing whatever they want. I've been doing that for like 3 days now. And it's all just a waste of my time because Google changed their policy to where I have to make sure, I don't even know what I need to do. I have to edit something on my website or make a new page on my website to let people know that if they want me to delete their data, that I can take requests to delete their data. And it already says that on another part of my website, but Google wants me to do it again or something. I don't know. I'm having a hard time understanding it. But even then, doing website editing and design work, that can take hundreds of hours. So I don't have time to be fussing about with social media, even though I need to be fussing about with social media. You know what I mean? What I need to do, my son wants to be a YouTuber, so I should start having him work on my thumbnails and learning what makes a good thumbnail and get him a computer powerful enough for him to run a couple programs. I don't know, is there like an AI generator for perfect thumbnails for your videos? There should be. Someone should do that. Maybe that's what I'll do. AI generate my thumbnails so I don't have to worry about it. Or so that it's simpler, right? And faster than me trying to like Photoshop my face onto some slide. I'm sure there's a faster way. I just don't know and haven't researched how to do it. It's like being an entrepreneur online. You have to learn so many things. Like with had to learn how to set up Streamlabs, and I've done words. Words are hard, but I know words. Had to learn how to set up Streamlabs long time ago, many years ago. I got it set the way I want. So anytime there's any changes, I have to scramble to find out, you know, why isn't my microphone working? Why isn't my camera working? Why won't my music play? And it's always a headache. Always. Because I know enough to stream and have it kind of be okay. And it's like that with everything. Every ancillary website you use to help run your business, it's like you get to learn a little bit about it, just enough to get what you need done. You don't have time to become an expert at it. So, and you do get better as you use things over time. So that the more exposure you have to it, the better you get. But it takes a while because there are a bunch of programs you have to. You don't have to, but that help with running an online business. And you have to learn how to dodge the dodgy ones. That's another fun game. Is you get a program and you think it does what you need, and then it's like, oh, nope, that's not what I needed. Or you hire someone to do a thing, and they say, you know, yeah, I can do it. I can't tell you how many times I've hired people. I've probably hired people less than 20 times, right? Thousands of dollars, less than 20 times to do different things, from design to website editing to product description, right? And only a handful of them were competent and able to perform the task I needed done that I couldn't do myself, or if I was going to do it myself, it would take me too long personally. So from sketchy assisting websites to people that might or might not know what they're doing. It is expensive and time consuming to run an online website. All right. But in the end, and I'll give you an example. My website has an issue where the tapestries, the large tapestries, won't load, right? If you select the large tapestry and hit add to cart and go to your cart, only the small tapestry size will populate in the cart. So I had to contact the developer to go in and take a look at the theme liquid, the code, and figure out why it's doing that. So I'm still waiting to hear back from them. Yeah, and it's just the tapestries, right? Like every other, from what I could tell, I tried a bunch of different products and put in, from small to 4XL on there, checking to make sure that you could add each size to cart. And yeah, there was nothing. So that's that was what, Monday? Something like that. Because I am not skilled enough to go into the theme liquid code and change anything. So, had to get a developer to take a look. And I don't even know if they can do it, so I'm sure they can. I've worked with them before. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, almost halfway done. Yeah, websites are finicky things. And this, like, Astrid, you have a Shopify platform, right? You use Shopify? I use Shopify. And so the small tapestry size and the large tapestry size, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. They're both added. They're there as variants, and so is, you know, everything else that has a differing size. So I don't know why that one product is affected. I don't know. We'll see. We'll get it fixed and worst case scenario, I'll contact Shopify, because I've contacted the developer of the theme that I use to let them know about this problem. It's going to be something simple, and I don't know what it is, so I searched high and low. You know, you always try to... That's another fun aspect of being an entrepreneur, is you don't want to pay anyone to do work that you can figure out yourself, right? So you spend a lot of time looking up solutions and trying different solutions, and so I tried a bunch before I contacted anyone. And I got, I'm waiting to hear back from them, so we'll see what happens. But so I checked the stock tracking, I checked the weight, I checked, make sure the right price was listed. I gotta check the bulk editing file. You would rather research fully for asking for help? Me too. Problem is it takes up a bunch of time. It's like I'll sit on the struggle bus for a long time trying to figure something out anymore before I get someone else involved. One, because it's a learning experience for me, and two, because getting someone else involved only works about 30% of the time for me. So I just dig and dig and dig and try to find any source of information on the problem. Half the time I can't find the solution because I'm not typing in the right keyword. But it's fine. It's fine. Right? Because you know how to... If you know how to fix it, you can do it again if needed. Yeah. Yup. And you want to know these things. Like, you want to know every aspect of how your business works. But the reality is it's just not how businesses work. You know? So, but being a solopreneur, it's like you've got to be able to do as much as you can. And the area that I struggle the most is not even like website editing or product descriptions or any of that. All that I can largely do on my own, despite the fact that I like to design stuff and I like to make stuff. If someone else could handle the website and whatnot, that would be great. But it's, you know, it's just me. So I get to do it all. You figure out the problem, then completely forget the next time around. I've done that several times too. I have a file full of bookmarks of helpful websites that have cured common issues. So, what was I going to say? I was going to say something. There was I lost my train of thought. It's fine. It won't come back until after the end of the stream. I'll be like, that's what I was going to say. And it'll happen about 30 seconds after the stream ends. Something about I don't like website editing, but I have to do it. Oh, I know. My biggest weakness, and I don't know if this affects anybody else, but I do not find myself succumbing to advertisements of any kind, really. Hey Luke, how you doing? We are making some chainmail. This is a Sandwyrm Ringception Metacube. I don't know if that's what it's officially called, but this is a jelly cube, right? It's a bunch of tiny rings woven together in a specific pattern, and you do it the right way, and you get this nice block with this jelly effect. It's a fun little fidget toy, right? And it's addicting, and they're fun to make. This right here, this uses the same weave as this cube, right? But I'm making the rings out of smaller rings and then weaving them together one by one to make a large cube, like 9" by 9" by 9" cube. So, and I'm streaming it to show other people that you can make cool stuff out of chainmail in the comfort of your own home. And we make all kinds of stuff, from dice bags to jewelry to armor to decorative sculptures and all kinds of fun stuff. It always amazes me what people make. Someone made a rose the other day on TikTok, or a flower. What do you need to make chainmail? Some rings and some pliers. If you there's a couple ways to get started. You can make your own rings by finding some wire around the house and wrapping it around a rod and then cutting it with some snips of some kind and digging out some old pair of pliers from the household toolbox. But there's dozens of videos on YouTube about how to make your own rings. It's fairly simple. And there's a bunch of tutorials about how to make basic patterns like European 4-in-1 and stuff like that. I usually recommend that people go to one of the large chainmail suppliers and order one of their kits, like Metal Designs and We've Got Mail. They've got kits where you can get like the right ring size for a Byzantine chain. And you don't have to worry about going into their stock and selecting out the right ring size. You just buy a kit, get some pliers, and follow the tutorial and make yourself a little Byzantine chain, right? Another good place to start is, for kits, is Chainmail Joe. They have a large box. It's very pretty. In that box is a bunch of different ring sizes and a booklet of tutorials that will tell you how to weave each ring size into a couple different weaves and patterns. So I recommend starting out with a small starter kit, just because I spent a lot of time making my own rings when I first got started, and that really delayed my ability to be good at making chainmail. I was not good for a very long time. And then I started taking this more seriously about 15 years ago and started getting better. And there was one major supplier, which is the Ring Lord. And then since then, as of right now, there's about 12 different suppliers. And if you want, if you see this and you're like, that's cool, I need to learn how to do this, and you want to get started, in my link tree is the Mailworks app, and that has a bunch of resources, like all the chainmail suppliers that I know of, a list of chainmail artists, groups where chainmail artists hang out online, different Facebook groups and forums and whatnot. And it's a free, helpful resource for those looking to get started. There is a link to my website in there. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel. And all right, Rat, have a good one. Thanks for hanging out. So that is how I would go about getting started if I were to start again. But yeah, I mean, you can get started. Find some a brass coat hanger at home and a rod in the garage. Wrap the, straighten out the coat hanger and then wrap the wire around the rod and then cut your rings out from the coil that you've made. And like I said, there's a bunch of videos on how to make rings on YouTube. People have asked me for a tutorial, but I don't do tutorials. I may do one for a cube coming up and put it in the Mailworks app because people have just repetitively asked for it. And that one's fairly straightforward, so. Excuse me. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. Hang on, it'll come back to me. Right after the stream ends. Make rings at home. Yeah. Okay, you can make rings at home. It's not that hard. The quality will determine on... The quality of rings will be determined by the level of skill and tools you have and whatnot. So, my recommendation has always been just to start with a kit. See if you even like it. And that way you're not going into a chainmail supplier's website and ordering a bunch of rings in random ring sizes that you don't have a plan for. Tutorials aren't as easy as people think. That reminds me what I was going to say. Tutorials are not as easy as people think, and I am the last person who should be writing any tutorial whatsoever, and I'll tell you why. Because any period of time throughout my life in which I've been teaching someone something, whether it was nursing or chainmail or I don't know anything else besides nursing and chainmail, so that's all I got. Whenever I tried to teach someone one of those two things, they would quit. So I stopped teaching. All I can do now is point people in the right direction and say, have fun. So, but I can probably do a tutorial for a cube. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17. 1, 2, 3, 18, 19, 20, 21. And also, right? Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. That would be annoying if you teach people something and they quit. Yeah, it kind of was. And then it's like, if everybody's quitting, I am probably the problem. Right? And not, I'm not cut out to teach. All I can do is just, hey, I'm making this cool thing. If you want to learn, like, how to get started over there. And I'm okay with that. But it's like seeing your labor melt away. Sure. Which is why now I largely just avoid it. But one of the projects I have planned might involve a lot of tutorials. Put nicely into a physical form. So we'll see how that develops. That's going to take me some time to come up with that, but I have had people clamoring for a book on tutorials, or a book of tutorials, for a while. And I put it off and put it off and put it off, but now it's kind of like, it's one of those things where Karen has several tutorial books. I'm not trying to compete with her, but you can go to almost every Michaels or Hobby Lobby and find one of her chainmail books, right? So if I can duplicate that and, make a nice book about chainmail, then I would like to have my name on a book in every major craft store across the nation. That would be cool. We'll see. We'll see if I even have time for it. I've got so much stuff to do. It's like I could make a book on your basic weaves and stuff, or I could do something cool like how to make a giant jelly cube. I don't know. That's probably too much for a craft book at Michael's or something. I don't know. They've got like bead booklets that have huge tutorials on how to make structures with beads. Maybe a more, I don't want to say more advanced, because Karen is a better chainmail artist than I am, okay? But I don't know where this falls necessarily. This isn't necessarily advanced so much as it is a simple thing made complicated, right? So maybe one day I will put my efforts towards taking simple things and making them complicated and keeping it cool. My favorite thing. Okay? When I get done with this enormous cube project that I have going on here, I'm going to post it to all the chainmail groups, and I'm going to explain what it is, and someone is going to ask me for a tutorial. Now, this person will never make this enormous cube, but they will ask for a tutorial anyway, in what is clearly a one-off piece. And it happens in nearly every thread where a big project is unleashed, unless it's a large inlay. And it is what it is, man. All right. Guaranteed. Someone's going to be like, oh, do you have a tutorial already written for that? No. I just made it for the first time ever. I didn't write the tutorial first and then. It's okay. It's fine. This is fine. Some people don't have original thoughts. Some people do not. Some people are legitimate NPCs. And, you know, I don't even think that's the case. I think that everyone is a little bit NPC about some things at different times. I think that that's probably more. It's not that they're an NPC all the time, and it's just that sometimes with certain things they are an NPC. I'll be generous and give them that, but there is also the possibility that they do not have original thoughts in their head. So it's fine. It's fine. I expect it. I've been around long enough. Or they don't expect you to have made something without a tutorial. Now, see here, since I got started 28 some odd years ago, there were very few tutorials back then. There were a few more by the time I started getting into this seriously, like 15 years ago. I made the bulk of the large, really cool stuff I've made in the last 15 years. Right? I started when I was 14, technically. And I made a shirt and a bikini and chains but I didn't get started making like highly technical stuff until I was about 25, 26, somewhere in there. So for the last 15 years, I've been doing much cooler stuff. And now, after all that time, I have like a goal of the cool stuff that I want to make. So, like this ridiculously large cube. And I don't think I've ever bought a tutorial for anything. There was CG Mail back in the day, which I learned like elf weave and Turkish round mail from. I'm trying to think. It was a good website. It got absorbed by Mail Artisans International League, I think. And so like all their resources are listed on the Mail Artisans website. And now the Mail Artisans website is in catastrophe, so. But those were, like, I figured out half Persian 3-in-1 on my own, half Persian 4-in-1, full Persian, because there weren't tutorials for them at the time. I found on the internet spiral weave, European 4-in-1, and European 6-in-1 when I got started, right? And I figured out full Persian, half Persian, the two half Persians, Byzantine, right, and a number of others, or a few others, I should say. It wasn't until CG Mail came around, which is no longer around anymore, that there was a like really good website dedicated to tutorials. But that was it. After that, like This does not require a tutorial. You can look at a picture and figure out Sandwyrm. It's not that hard, right? And there's not a tutorial on the Mail Artisans website that I saw. I could be wrong, but things like this, where you're trying to make a sculpture and a somewhat rigid structure, that's not a cube. You can find tutorials for cubes. I'm trying to find another piece. I don't have anything else within reach, but like most of what I've learned was not learned from a tutorial. And that's not to like toot my own horn. It's just like when I was learning, the tutorials didn't exist the way they do today. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay. Got the full Persian section of this done. Now we got to add the box chain on the outside. You didn't really get online until recently. You're not really a big forum person. Yeah, I'm trying to think how many tutorials were listed on the Ringlord website, because I know there were some, but there weren't very many. And I know people would like map out. They do like ring by ring instructions on the Ringlord forum. I'm sure I picked up some stuff from there, but a lot of it was experimentation, playing with what I had, and trying to duplicate what I'd seen other people do. So I've never seen anyone make a Ringception Metacube. I believe that I am the first. I could be wrong. I'm certainly not the only one who could do this. I don't think I've ever seen one. So it's like, if you are watching and if, you know, you are interested in making this, like, you don't necessarily need tutorials, but by all means, go look at all the free ones and learn as much as you can, and you will start coming up with your own stuff, and it'll become easy to look at something and be able to duplicate it. You weren't allowed to be online until you graduated. You had limits on how long and where you could go. Graduated high school or college? Because you said you had a animation degree, right? And what is the name of the religious cult you were a part of? I'm just kidding. I don't know. You may have just had strict parents, but I know. Okay, graduated high school, then you were allowed to be online. I can understand that, though. I don't want my kid online. He's been online. No. He's been online. Probably he was too young to be online, but not my fault. Actually, it is my fault because I didn't say no, but I bought half the stuff half the toys that he was on online with. So it is my fault for facilitating that, but also being safe online is something we stress with him all of the time. And he seemingly just screams at his friends on Fortnite anymore, so there's not a whole lot I worry about. You know, he doesn't go meet new people online in the real world anywhere, so. And he doesn't talk about where he lives or where he goes to school or anything. So you had very strict parents. I too had very strict parents, but even I was allowed online. But that was probably because my parents didn't understand what the internet was. And so I was just allowed to exist online and do whatever I wanted on the computer. And I didn't, you know, I was young. I didn't do anything. I didn't know how to use the internet really until I got my own personal computer in 2004. My own laptop in 2005. Yeah. And that was when I really figured out how the internet works and what it was. And I'm very much still learning. So, but they were like, I couldn't go anywhere, couldn't hang out with anybody. All of my friends were terrible influences, and my parents didn't want me around them, and which was probably true, you know, looking back. You did get the kits for the dragon scale tie and the owls, which came with the tutorials. Nice. Hey, and you know, I mean, if you just need what the kit has, there's nothing wrong with ordering one. Like, if the website's out of a color, but they have a kit in stock with the color you need, and you just order the kit to cannibalize the rings, you know, you don't have to tell anyone you did that. I just think that kits are a great way to get a taste of chainmail. have a small win early on, and then, figure out whether or not you like it, as opposed to a lot of what I've done, which is just, I was inexperienced and I ordered a lot of ring sizes that I didn't have a use for, and now I'm stuck with all these rings that I have to do something with because they're taking up too much space in my basement. They're not really, right? What it is I'm in like a little kind of corner, an alcove, if you will, and all my craft stuff is here, and all my stuff could just sit here for forever, and without me ever touching it, and it would be fine. No one would know the difference, right? But because I'm down here working on stuff, I see piles of crap everywhere, and I'm like, I need to finish some projects so that I can buy more stuff to make projects with. It's fine. I did this on purpose. It's a vicious cycle. But no, I do intend to eventually take custom requests, have stock that I carry, and then I have a goal to make really cool sculptures. So I don't want to be hustling from event to event. I just want to make stuff and show it off online, and maybe someone someday will think it's cool enough to buy. Oh, but I was going to say, my parents, I grew up in a religious household. And so our actions were limited, right? Like, we went to school and we went to church, and then it was interesting because while I was young, when I was like 4, 5, 6, 7, I ran around my neighborhood unsupervised on my bike with 4 or 5 other neighbor kids for the entire time I lived there, right? And then my parents got divorced, and I was living with my mom and my stepdad, and it was in a rural community. And that's when, like, as I aged, things got stricter. But then they kicked me out at 14, and I could do whatever I want after that, so. All right. Same, but no church. He was also expected to clean all the time. Your stepmom was a clean freak. Yeah. My mom was not much of a home, what do you call it? Not a great cook. Didn't spend a lot of time keeping the house clean. Like, we cleaned, but it wasn't, no one was fanatic about it, right? Unless you didn't do your chores. Then, you were an awful person for not doing your chores. That was an annoying thing. Like, the house can't function if you didn't vacuum, right? But you only had to vacuum like once a week or something. That was, I don't know. I don't know if I'm giving it a fair shake, but that's just kind of what I remember from growing up. It's like, oh, you didn't do your chore, then that must mean that you're a terrible person. So, but my mom did not clean, could not. She got better at cooking as she got older, but I was already out of the house at that point. Rest in peace, Mom. Sorry about your cooking. Right, and it's not that my mother's cooking was bad, okay? Like, an Easter ham was always good. She always did a lot of work on that. Thanksgiving, turkey, that was always okay. But the day-to-day meals, like, I remember eating Top Ramen a lot. And the reason I don't believe that my mom was a very good cook is because I remember my grandma's cooking on both sides. Like, I don't know my mom's mother. I never knew her before she passed. But my dad's grandma, or my dad's mom, my grandma, and my stepdad's mom, my step grandma, they were amazing cooks. And I remember all of the meals that I ever ate at any of their houses. And so maybe they were such good cooks that it overshadowed my mom's cooking, and her cooking was probably adequate, but I don't know. For a long time, I just remember my mom being a terrible cook and eating top ramen growing up. And macaroni and cheese. Just don't get me wrong, I love both of those, but it never worked and made me not like cleaning. Yeah. You were never shown how to clean, just told to clean and then yelled at. Yeah. I can 100% understand the frustration of that. It's like, I don't understand what you want me to do, and then when you fail at it, it's like it gives them an excuse to treat you poorly. That doesn't sound manipulative at all. What do I know? I'm not a psychologist. All right. My step grandma gave me a recipe book and a baking pan for Christmas. She gave it to all of us kids, and I still have it. And we cooked cookies out of it, out of using her recipe. So, just the other day, and it was almost as good as I remembered. I don't, when it comes to liking cleaning, I would hope that nobody likes to clean. Right? If you like cleaning, like maybe as a zen activity, if you're just chilling and cleaning, you're just vibing, I can understand enjoying the work that you're doing. But at no point in time do I want to spend any of my time cleaning my house or washing dishes or doing my laundry. I have more important things to do with my life. Now, I do all of those things because I have to, right? But I will never enjoy cleaning. Ugh. All right. I can't think of anything from childhood that I'd be like, oh yeah, no, I'm sure there's something that my parents harangued me about, that they didn't like that I did. Oh yeah, you have to do things now, and it's definitely been a learning curve. Yeah. Yerp. It's like a couple of years ago, we bought a carpet shampooer for like pet stains and stuff. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. And I was excited to get a carpet shampooer so we could clean the carpet more efficiently. It's like, what in the world is going on? I could have spent this money on something I enjoyed, but I got the carpet cleaner, and now I'm like, yay, I have a carpet cleaner. This makes cleaning up so much easier. And thank God we did, too, because when we got the Corgi puppy, oh my goodness, such a mess. I'm still cleaning. I'm still finding spots. It's like, oh my God, dog. Now that you understand why things need to be done, you can do those things better, right? The why and if you're like me and you need the why and the how in order to be successful at something, I don't know. There are types of people out there who don't want to give you that information, and I don't understand it. Right? And being in the military, you never know why. Right? They'll teach you how to do whatever they want you to do, but you will never know why you're doing it. And it always just seemed like mindless fuckery going on. So, okay, we're doing this thing. Why? I'll give you an example. I had It will never be clean? That's what yours is? You mean like it'll never be clean? Is it like it'll never stay clean and so you just kind of clean it when it needs to be? Or... No. My example. Yeah, sorry. So, everyone went on block leave, and I didn't. I stayed back with the unit, but there was nothing going on. But they still had to come up with work for me to do. So they had me go on a detail and go and paint these barracks. These barracks that were condemned, that we were trying to nicen up for people to live in. But the reality was that we were painting these barracks and they needed to be gutted, which is what ended up happening to them. And it was just mindless work for no reason. Loads of fun. Why didn't I go on block leave? I don't remember. Block leave is like when everyone in the unit goes home for 2 weeks. I probably didn't have any leave. I don't know. Alright, what time is it? 9:30. Alright. We had one. Oh. I'm dreading when these spring steel rings get here. Because it's really going to make this a lot of work. It'll be fine. Spring steel separates the men from the boys. And it's going to be my undoing, I can already tell. I'm trying to think what other mindless crap I did in the military. Like, there was a lot of it. Like, the bulk of my deployment was... Or my deployments. We spent thousands of hours processing people, getting them checked out. Because thousands of people were brought in by... the infantry troops. I worked in a hospital. And, you know, we'd process them, make sure they didn't have any health concerns, and they would either, like, they would all be detained for a while. Then they go to court, and then they get released. And then the next month they'd be brought back in. And it's like, why? Why do I keep seeing these same people over and over and over again? And a lot of it was, well, what I surmised was that some of the guys that were detained enjoyed being in the detainee camp because they got 3 hots and a cot in there, whereas on the outside in Iraq it was a dangerous war zone, and you know, we had destroyed the infrastructure in '92, so they were having a rough go of it the last 3 decades. But just over and over again processing the same people a bunch of times. That was annoying. (2003). What's 2003? The Iraqi infrastructure was destroyed during the Desert Storm. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about when I was there. Yeah, when we took over the second time was 2002, 2003. Don't nope me. I know what I'm talking about. All right. I love you too. Anyway. All right. I'm going to try and finish this ring. Got a little bit to go before 10. Not much more to add to this here. I want to add one more ring to this. See if we can't get that done. That's one of the things that's been driving me nuts, is on things like this jelly cube, I can average about 200 rings an hour. On these rings are 176 rings, and it takes me an hour and a half to do one. So it is what it is. Try to weave these rings as fast as I can. But the reality is, if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I want to learn how to do chainmail, I'll go download the app and get a kit and do everything he said. And right, the reality is that there is a physical limit to how much you can work chainmail on a daily basis, right? Not only can you burn yourself out mentally on a project, okay, but there are physical ramifications like repetitive motion injuries and carpal tunnel and tendonitis and just physical pain from squeezing pliers closed over and over and over again. And it's something that you have to actively work against when you're weaving and to watch out for. So there are people who can weave 300-400 rings an hour, and they're cruising. They're going, a lot faster than me. I'm going slow, right? We're just chilling, weaving these rings together. But for the people that are just trying to get as much as they can done in an hour, or over whatever time period, right? They're going to run into the reality that opening and closing rings and weaving them takes a physical toll on your body. Just because you're sitting for long periods of time, you're hunched over, your eyes are squinting at a closure, trying to make sure your ring is closed properly, and so you can very easily give yourself an injury when doing this. So if you are one of those people who said, hey, I'd like to try my hand at that, just be forewarned. Take lots of breaks, stretch a lot, work in blocks, give yourself time to rest. If your wrists start hurting, stop what you're doing. Just put the pliers down and come back to this stuff later. It doesn't matter if you get it done now or next week. So, that's probably something I should stress more often, is like, yeah, I love chainmail, I love making it, but also, don't hurt yourself doing this stuff. What was I weaving? I was weaving together some 16 gauge 3/16 rings, which is a fat, small ring, okay? So it's very tough to open and close. And I was making a shirt, and I weaved so much that my sternum was kind of like sunk in. And when I got done weaving for that session that I had been sitting at, I went and I stretched like this. My sternum went thunk and popped out. I'm sure it just popped, but it felt like it moved a lot. So don't injure yourself. Use the right tools. The right pliers help avoid a lot of injuries too. I should order the right pliers so I don't injure myself, because these are not like the right. These are just a pair of regular pliers. Okay. Trying to, let's see here. 26, 7, 8, 9. This will be ring number 30. So that'll be 65 rings left to make. How long have I been working on this? A week? I didn't get much done today. 2.5 rings, but I've only been working since about 6:30. Spent the rest of the day doing yard work and stuff like that. So I won't have woven as much as I normally do. I can usually get, I say usually as if I've been doing it a long time. I've managed to get 6 to 6.5 rings done a day when I've just been doing solely chainmail in that day, right? And that's about 1,000 rings. Which is not bad, but I would like to, I wish I was accomplishing this faster, because I want to finish. I've got a long way to go. What is, let's see, where's my calculator? I want to finish, and here I am screwing off. It's fine. What's 176 minus, or times, clear. 176 times 30 equals, so when I finish this ring, there will be 5,280 rings in here, which is almost a third of what is needed to finish this. The total ring count for this when it's done is going to be 16,700 rings. So, got quite a ways to go. I don't know if I'll finish it this month. Let's see here. What have I got to do? I got to finish the saddlebag. Once I'm done with the saddlebag, which I'm probably going to spend the bulk of the day on tomorrow, then once I'm done with that, then I'll work on this or the Finnegan's Wake flag. Then we'll move on to other projects. I was looking at the gas tank of my motorcycle today, and I've got the speedometer, which is raised up off the tank. I've got the fuel gauge and the gas tank cap that I'm going to have to work around if I want to make a gas tank bib. Right? So I've got to figure all that out. I'm got the cover off the bike and rotated it around a little bit without the saddlebags on it, and I'm sure it looked a little funny, but I just went around the block just to warm the bike up and get the fluids moving in there, make sure everything's running fine, and then I will put the saddlebags on once I'm done covering them in chainmail. That's my I think that's the bulk of my big basement projects, right? Because the saddlebags, the motorcycle project is from a shirt that I was working on that I could no longer get rings for, so I turned it into the motorcycle project, which is wrapping the saddlebags in chainmail, doing the gas tank bib, and wrapping the toolkit. And then this cube, the Finnegan's Wake flag. It's like all the big stuff. Everything else is kind of a medium size or small project. Like belts that need leather attachments and guitar straps that need leather attachments. You know? So that's exciting, because the whole point of what I'm doing is I'm trying to finish up all the projects in my basement and then flesh out the rest of my chainmail shop down here in the basement so that I can become a full-service chainmail, so that I can have a full-service chainmail setup, right? It's my goal anyway. So that I can then make awesome things. All right. Only a couple rings left, and then this will be done. We can attach it. That'll be ring number 30, which is, yeah, there's 5,280 rings at ring number 30. So that's a third of the way done. 30 rings is a third of 95, roughly, give or take a ring or two. I guess 32 is technically a third. But yeah, kind of a nice marker, a nice point to reach. It's one of those things where it's like, this is a overly large, not overly complex, right? It's something simple made complicated is all it is. Okay, so it's not overly complex, but it is an overly large, unnecessary project. That'll hopefully look really cool when it's done, and someone will be like, yo, I want to pay ridiculous amounts of money for that. One day. Okay. So close. Man, I tell you what, I was talking about injuries earlier, right? My wrist is starting to hurt. Getting to that age where the ibuprofen doesn't know which part of my body to start working on first. It's another thing too. Gotta watch how much ibuprofen you take. It's not great for your liver. And I am a medical professional, so it's like I try not to give medical advice because I am not a doctor, I'm not a nurse practitioner. Whenever somebody asks me, you know, hey, can you take a look at this? It's like, yeah, you need to go see your doctor about that. But I think it's X, Y, or Z, right? So, and that happens like more often than you'd think. People find out that you're a nurse and they're like, oh, well, what do you think of this mole on my back? And does that look bad? Like, sure, go talk to your doctor. So my point is, I don't want to be like giving out medical advice, but being a medical professional, I am an RN. I have a college degree, and I have 10 years of practice as an RN, and 8 years of practice as an LPN. Hey, Sonia, I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Almost finished up with this this piece here. We're going to attach it to this larger piece here. Yeah, but all of that, just say that, you know, too much ibuprofen can be bad, so don't take too much. That's all. How are you tonight, Sonia? Come on. Where did the opening go? It's always the... I was going to say, it's always the openings you can't find that you have to open back up, but I was looking at the wrong ring. Let's try this one more time to weave this correctly. You're peachy. Right on. That sounds like a good way to be. Alright, that's better. Okay. Make this easy on myself and just attach it to this one ring over here, and then tomorrow we'll attach these two rings. I don't know if you can see that real well. You tried to make a jelly cube today, but you're not sure what size rings to use. I might have some insights on that. So if it's too loose, then I like to double up the edges and sometimes the whole outside. But for this ring size, these are 18 gauge 1/8 rings from Chain Reaction. It's chain-reaction.ca. And then for these are 16 gauge, and the diameter is 0.170 millimeters. So I don't have the closest with these larger rings, the closest fractional derivation is 11/64, I think, if I remember correctly. But any ring that has an aspect ratio of, and don't quote me on this, I think it's 2.65 to 2.79 should work. And what all those ring sizes are, I don't know, but I'm going to map out a list of ring sizes that people have put together or figured out. And I'm going to make a sheet and put it in the Mailworks app at some point. Standard wire gauge or American wire gauge? Because the 16 gauge 1/4 inch that I have, I would have to double up if I tried to make a cube out of it. It would have to be an 8 and 2 cube. Standard wire gauge. Alright. I don't know off the top of my head what the aspect ratio of that is, but I mean, if it works, you know, that's all you need. I think the 16 gauge 1/4 inch rings I have are from the Ring Lord. So if you use the 16 gauge 1/4 inch rings I have are from the Ring Lord. So those are American wire gauge. And like I said, I would have to double them up and do an 8 and 2 cube instead of a 4 and 1 cube if I were to try and make a cube from them. Still learning, so will come in time. Yeah. It will, and then you'll get to a point where you've forgotten more than you remember, and it's like, oh, I knew that once, but I didn't write it down, and I should have, because I do that all the time. I do have a YouTube channel. All of my socials are linked in the link tree in my bio, and My list of resources, the Mailworks app, is listed in there as well. And come on, fingers, work for me. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, This wants to fall over because it's a little off balance, but we're going to make this work. Time to weave upside down and backwards. This is my favorite part. Trying to add these last few rings on. You found me? Right on. Thank you. I do appreciate it. It's like I spend most of my time on TikTok because that is where the most amount of people have seen me. And I don't focus on other social medias because it's been a waste of time for years. But if I can get enough people from TikTok to subscribe to the rest of my socials, then maybe those other socials will one day be worth something, especially if TikTok goes away. You know what I mean? So I do appreciate it a lot. An owner notebook can. All right. Couple more rings and this 30th ring will be attached. And then I don't know what I'm going to do. So here, what do I got? I got to work on the saddlebag tomorrow, but I also have to clean my house. So I don't know how much work I'm going to get done. I do need to finish it because like I mentioned previously, I got the bike out and I was riding around on it and I didn't have my chainmail covered saddlebags on it. So I want to put the saddlebags on when they're done so I can look cool. And that is 100% the reason why I put chainmail on there. Just to look cool. Yeah, they're coming out better than I expected, so the one thing I wasn't sure is there's like a diamond pattern on the saddlebags, and the internal parts of the diamond pattern could have been black with the edges stainless, but I'm literally trying to use up the rings in my basement, and I made regular stainless diamonds, and that's what I'm not going to try and change it out now. So that would have been a better design decision, but other than that, the one that I have done is ridiculously cool, so now just to finish the rest of that whole project, it's going to be an ordeal. But I have my goal is to have the leatherwork and chainmail on the bike done this year. And here's my arrogance, right? I started the bike project at the beginning of Christmas break, and I said, "Oh, I can do that in 2 weeks," right? And the chainmail portion was largely done 2 weeks later, right? To get the lacing all stitched and the leather edging covering up where the chainmail and the saddlebag connect, to get all that figured out and put together, took me so much longer than I was anticipating. Hate that when you start something and find a new and better way to do it. Yeah. Well, that's the story of half of these projects down here in the basement. It's like they were fine the way they were, but then I'm like, oh, I know this now, so I'm going to change it up a little bit to make it a better piece. Which is one of the things I love about chainmail, because you can like weave something, and then if you don't like it, tear it apart and make something else out of it. And then when I have my own coiling and cutting setup, I can just make a bunch of different attempts at something. All right, last 4 rings here. Okay. one of the things that slows me down is these are old Ring Lord rings, and they're all slightly out of round. And so if you see me grab a ring, close it, or a ring that's already closed, and adjust it a little bit, it's because they're all slightly off, just a touch. So that does slow me down, but it's important because if I do get to a point where I'm going to sell this, I need this to be as good looking as possible. You're scared to change? Yeah, this is stainless steel. You're scared to change it because most of your stuff is AA and only takes a couple of turns to break? Yeah, no, that is understandable. It's, anodized aluminum, especially with the anodization, anodized titanium, anodized niobium, right? Anything with a coating, you run the risk of diminishing the color, you know, in some way, and or ruining the ring, because titanium's pretty, it can be pretty brittle. I guess some of the grades of titanium manufacturers are using now is a little easier. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4 more rings for the top of this, right? But we've got 4 done. This is, let me change this camera angle over here. Right? It's starting to look cube-like and starting to behave like a cube. I think I did the ring size right. I don't want to have to take all of these apart, remove one unit, and then put them all back together. That's not going to be fun. So, the Sandwyrm Ringception Metacube is coming along, right? Okay. Let's go into for my other camera angle viewers. All right. Yeah, that's looking good. We are at 30 rings now, only 65 to go. So we're like almost a third of the way done, which is cool. I like that fact. It's kind of a nice point to reach. So, but it is 10 o'clock, and I do have some stuff I have to do before I go to bed. So, with that in mind, if you see me making chainmail and you're like, oh, that's cool, I want to learn how to make that, right? My recommendation is go to the link in my bio and download the Mailworks app. It's a free list of a bunch of resources that I wish I had when I first started making chainmail 28 years ago, right? There's also a link to my store, mailworks.com. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories. Because, you know, who doesn't want to wear chainmail themed apparel and accessories? Chainmail is one of those things that doesn't go out of style. Or at least it hasn't been out of style in like the last 1,500 to 2,000 years. It has consistently been used in wartime up until at least World War II, right? And not like they weren't wearing it in World War II. They used it for a bunch of different things. But we use it for a lot of commercial products today. Which, if you go back a bunch of videos back on my channel, you can find videos about that. But chainmail's awesome. You can always make cool stuff out of it. Even if it's not like going to stop someone slashing a sword at you today. Right? But it can also be used for that in some cases. So check out mailworks.com. It's a lot of cool clothes and cool designs, and I will be making more as time goes on. If you want to help me fund projects like giant chainmail jelly cubes, made up of a ridiculous number of rings. Purchasing something from my store is a way to help fund these projects. And so yeah, please follow me on all my socials. They're all listed in the link tree in my bio. I do appreciate that. Just in case TikTok goes away, right? We may never see each other again, and I would, just be heartbroken if I never got to hang out with you guys ever again. But on that note, I do have stuff to do before I go to bed. You all have a wonderful evening. I'm going to get out of here. I will be back on. I'm usually on between 8:30 and 10 most nights of the week. I think I'm on like day 8 or 9 of streaming every night. And it's not always that way, so I do have to take time off for family and stuff. But most of the time, I'm chilling here in the evenings. So check out the Mailworks app. Check out mailworks.com. Follow me on my socials. And you all have a wonderful evening. I look forward to seeing you guys later. Have a good night. Thank you for stopping by. You are the best people in the world.